No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up. You messed it.
The WNBA might have changed forever if Caitlin Clark had accepted an offer from Europe. Caitlin Clark's relocation
I am never going to financially recover from this.
to Europe appears to be imminent. Therefore, the WNBA is hurrying. Perhaps you should have thought about treating your huge star with a little more decency. Now Caitlin will seriously harm the WNBA, and who would watch without CC? You are inexperienced and won't run the WNBA, so stop talking about things
I know she will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at
like that. After everything Caitlin had to endure over the season, she blasted her way past broken records as if there were no tomorrow, leaving the WNBA in ruins. Caitlin had no choice but to follow these analysts' advice. She needs a fresh start in a league that truly honors
nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong, when in my personal opinion she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only from
its top players, and keeps them from being singled out because the constant animosity toward her is enough. According to reports, Caitlin Clark has received an incredible contract offered to play in Europe, and although it seems like she is ready to accept
What the NBA became. Even when Jordan was ascending and the league clearly saw that that was the dude, and Nike was marketing the living hell out of Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. It was still burning.
there is more to the story despite all the attention, admiration, and undeniable impact she has had on the game. Caitlin Clark has faced many challenges in the WNBA, from the league's inability to adequately protect its star players to the lack of proper support on the court. These challenges have culminated in what may be one of the most shocking career decisions we've ever seen. She has finally had enough of the way she has been treated in the WNBA, and after enduring countless frustrations, she is finally deciding to leave the league. The WNBA could be rocked by her decision to move to Europe and leave the league. Let's face it, Caitlin Clark hasn't always received the respect or decency that a player of her caliber deserves from the WNBA. Whether it's the persistent harassment from other players, the lack of protection on the court, or the league's seeming lack of interest, it's clear that Clark has had enough. Time and time again, we've seen opposing players get away with using excessive physicality when guarding Clark, frequently going overboard with aggressive and occasionally dangerous play. It's almost as if the league has allowed these tactics to continue unchecked. Warren, you could even argue that the WNBA has permitted this behavior to continue because they understand that Clark's presence on the court draws attention and boosts viewership. After all, a little drama gets people talking, but for Caitlin, the lack of protection has gone too far.
making a basketball argument. You were making a basketball argument.
We're not saying we were making a basketball
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all I'm saying.
Fans have taken notice of the outcry on social media platforms from her supporters who have been calling for greater protection, fairness, and respect for their favorite player, but little to nothing has changed. Clark feels abandoned, almost as if the league didn't care enough to make the required adjustments, and Caitlin Clark is at last paying attention to her supporters after season of unfair treatment and harassment. She has had enough of the league's disregard and has decided to take control of her career by leaving the WNBA. Let's now talk about the repercussions. Clark is looking for
watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
A new chapter in which her extraordinary talent, enthusiasm, and influence on the game will be appropriately acknowledged, as they have long been. Whether they were casual viewers or ardent basketball fans, everyone watched Caitlin Clark whenever she was on the court because she was a huge draw for the league. There is no need to sugarcoat the fact that the WNBA is about to see a significant decline, and it is all because they overlooked how important Caitlin Clark was to the league. Success Without Clark, the WNBA would immediately suffer in terms of both audience and money. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA now has the enormous task of filling the void left by her departure. Sure, the league has other talented players like DJ Carrington and Angel Reed, but let's face it, they don't have the same strength or charisma that Clark brought to the game. This isn't to minimize their talent, both are amazing athletes. But Caitlin Clark was operating at a whole new level. The
fact that she was getting all of that, yet all of these eyeballs were coming to the league because of her. The Indiana Fever was turning away games into halls.
Wasn't just a player, she was a movement, and people weren't just drawn to the WNBA, they were drawn to her because of her fearless shooting ability to take over games and her competitive spirit, making her a must-watch athlete. The full impact of the Caitlin Clark effect is only now becoming clear to the WNBA. Millions of dollars in ticket sales, revenue, product sales, TV deals, and sponsorships would all be lost if Clark were to go, and even worse, it was all preventable, as the league spokesperson, the league had every chance to protect Caitlin on the court and provide her the support she required, but they were unable to do so. Caitlin's departure represents a turning point that could have catastrophic consequences for the WNBA's future because they allowed issues to worsen and now have to pay for it. The league will soon find out how much they lost. The contract that Caitlin Clark has been promised in Europe, according to multiple sources, is significantly more than anything the WNBA has ever offered in the EuroLeague, where players are treated like royalty. Caitlin is getting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Viewership, which is up 400% to 40%. Between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%. Between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%. What Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5.
And the decision to move abroad essentially made itself. There might be a team there, and in addition to earning much more money, she will also benefit from playing fewer games, giving her more time to rest, recover, and play at her best. Europe is providing Caitlin with a contract offer as well as the chance to represent the entire league. The energy in those packed arenas is palpable as Caitlin steps up to take a deep three with thousands of fans cheering loudly and the lights going down. However, this time things are different. The fans aren't there just to watch a basketball game, they're there for her. The EuroLeague is aware of this and is prepared to make her the face of their brand, treating her like the global superstar she is. How's Europe is ready to make sure that Caitlin Clark shines brighter than ever as she gets ready.
Be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games and
to enter a new era of greatness, but she isn't the only one making significant strides. It's not just about giving Caitlin a new platform to rule, it's also about making her the biggest basketball star in the world, with arenas bursting with devoted fans who cheer and admire every move she makes. Other WNBA players are starting to follow the same path overseas in search of greater opportunities. For example, it has been reported that Caitlin will travel to Europe while Melissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell will play in China during their off-season. The WNBA's pay scale simply cannot compete with what other international leagues are offering in terms of compensation and experience quality, so players are gradually following this trend as they realize that playing overseas not only offers significantly higher compensation but also better treatment overall. Players like Caitlin, Kelsey, and Melissa are seeing the advantages of fewer games, more rest, and higher earnings, making the decision to play internationally almost a no-brainer. When you compare the schedules, compensation, and player care offered overseas, it's easy to understand why more athletes are choosing this path. Whilst all this is going out, Jason Whitlock believes Caitlin should star an unrivaled league where the best of the best compete against each other in the off-break of the WNBA. This would lead to players like Kelsey Mitchell and Alyssa Smith not needing to travel abroad to earn their wage. Instead, they can make their money in America with an unrivaled league full of talent. This will give players
Fever back within 4.
better opportunities, and they will be able to make something out of this rise of talent. In the women's game, we have some incredible prospects coming through, yet they aren't going to receive the pay they deserve. Instead, they will have to generate their income through sponsorships. But this unrivaled league idea adds a whole different spectrum to the table. Back to Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, this shift should serve as a massive wake-up call for the women's basketball. The league is at serious risk of losing not just Caitlin Clark, but other top players as well, if the WNBA doesn't step up and reevaluate how they compensate and treat their athletes. They could face a mass exodus of talent. The reality is clear: players no longer have to settle for less. Win. If the WNBA wants to prevent an even greater talent drain in the future, they must quickly reevaluate their goals, because international leagues are willing to offer them so much more that the WNBA essentially let Caitlin Clark leave without a fight, which is a perplexing decision. This is perhaps the most shocking part of the entire situation. There was no big offer, no grand gesture, and nothing to demonstrate how valuable she was to the league. Clark had the potential to be the biggest star in American sports and a once-in-a-generation talent, but the WNBA let her slip through their fingers. This is a huge mistake for a league that has been working hard to grow its fan base and compete on a larger stage. WNBA will undoubtedly regret this decision, which will have a detrimental effect on their financial performance, unlike any other player in recent.
Clark, it seems like this entire season, she was the solution for so many things, but so many players, coaches, media people, so many people were also painting her out to be the problem. She could never do enough. She could never speak out enough. Her fans were the issue. Fever fans.
Memory Caitlin Clark's effect was real. She was boosting the league's profile on her own, attracting new fans and igniting excitement. With her departure, the WNBA has to accept the harsh reality that they are no longer the top destination for the world's best players. Clark was rising to fame and attracting an unprecedented amount of interest and fervor that the league hadn't witnessed in years, and other leagues are now offering better contracts because they receive better care and play fewer games. The WNBA argues that the Premier League in women's basketball is now—
Basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career.
In fragile shape. Owing to Caitlin Clark's departure, making them a more desirable option, they will need to work hard to overcome this loss. Caitlin Clark's move to Europe is set to completely alter the basketball landscape. This is a fantastic opportunity for Caitlin to continue her career in a place where her talent will be fully acknowledged and compensated, and she will be treated like the superstar she is both on and off the court. Her game will.
You guys think people would prefer to watch? Caitlin Clark shooting three-pointers from the logo and sinking them, or Angel Reese doing two-footed layups? Like, y'all are so desperate to make her so relevant. She's just lucky she's in the same draft class as Caitlin.
Continue to develop on an even larger stage for the WNBA, but this is a complete disaster. The league will have to cope with the impact after losing one of its finest players, which will result in a steep drop in viewership revenue and general fan engagement. Now the question is whether the WNBA can recover from this significant setback, or if the league is about to enter a much more serious problem. The league fights to maintain top down tent in the face of better deals and treatment abroad, and Caitlin's exit is more than simply one player departing. Moreover, subscribe to view additional videos.